All right, let's move on now. Still on Breakfast Central, let's take you to one of the breaking stories right about now. Well, the death toll has indeed gone up in South Africa following the flood. Well, it's gone up to 306 from the heavy rains and mudslides in South Africa's KwaZulu Natal province. President Cyril Ramaphosa visited the south coast to comfort families who had lost their loved ones earlier yesterday, including a family that lost 10 members after floods ravaged the region on Tuesday. The government has declared provincial state of disaster. Now, this is the heaviest downpour the region has experienced in 6 decades.
Experts have indicated that more rain is expected over the already flood-ravaged coastline from Friday to Wednesday of next week. That's the 20th of April, 2022. Joining us this morning is South African journalist and editor Diane Hawker to give us more details. Good morning, Diane. Thank you once again for coming on the program. Now, we're looking at this story and the situation of things in Durban, in KwaZulu Natal. A significant loss of lives have been reported as of yesterday and even this morning. What new responses has the government issued thus far?
Good morning. Well, late last night, the government indicated that there would be a state of disaster for the province. And the reason that that is quite significant is that basically it will allow the government to create some immediate relief to help the communities there. When there's a state of disaster, ordinarily the government is able to make some funds available to people so that, or to the provincial government, so that they can actually begin to give relief. A lot of the people have lost everything and they won't even have a place to sleep. So there will be a need for funds for food, for some people even clothing, and for alternative accommodation until they're able to rebuild. So the state of disaster as a response will be the first step in making sure that that can be made available.
Well, President Ramaphosa visited the area yesterday on board a chopper, as we saw in the videos. But what did he really have to say?
Indeed, he was aboard a chopper, but he also was, on the ground speaking to families directly. When he was in the chopper, he was mainly kind of getting a bird's eye view and overseeing the devastation. And, in some of that video, what you can see is just the extent of the water that just flooded through. The weather service released some information about how much rain actually poured down in KZN. In other parts of the country, we were experiencing 20 millimeters or 17 millimeters of rain. In KZN on one day, they got 300 millimeters of rain. And you can just see the extent of the damage caused by that, a massive downpour, by the full canals and rivers, by the fact that containers were swept away. In some of the videos we saw, there were even petrol trucks swept away, roads that completely collapsed. And the president had gone to kind of review this and also just to get a sense. And this would have actually also informed the decision to declare a provincial state of disaster. It will also inform the decision as to how many military personnel can be deployed to assist with the rebuilding and the mopping up efforts in KZN.
Quite an unfortunate incident that is happening in South Africa now. Now, South Africa has joined other African countries that is experiencing the heavy floods. Countries like Mozambique, countries like Malawi, Madagascar, and even the Democratic Republic of Congo. But now we know that more rain is expected in that region. Has any announcement been made about how people ought to either leave that region or even navigate through the heavy floods, if possible?
Well, the SA Weather Service has been issuing daily updates on the weather situation. And as you are correct, it did indicate that there is expected to be some rain. Now, some officials are requesting that people who had planned to travel to KwaZulu-Natal for holiday period over this weekend, since this is the Easter weekend, they've requested that people stay at home. KZN is one of the main holiday destinations for South Africans and even for those traveling into the country. And there is a request from the government there that people don't come to KZN to put additional pressure. The Weather Service has also indicated, that people should be careful when traveling to other parts of the country and to keep a regular eye on the updates so as not to find themselves in any difficult situation when it comes to rain.
All right, now looking at the situation, Africa is not the only country who is the only continent, I beg your pardon, heavily affected. The United States, where you have 30 million Americans that are on high alert for floods and the strong winds that are coming up in the next couple of days. Some already affecting some cities as we speak. But we understand that a couple of businesses have been affected by the floods. Are there any updates that have been given to these business owners? I mean, these are their source of livelihoods that have been taken away from them overnight.
Well, it will definitely be a devastating blow for business owners. You are quite correct, particularly since a lot of them are still recovering from the July unrest that we saw last year. Many of the businesses in KwaZulu Natal were badly affected by that, including the shipping industry, as well as some major retailers such as Mr. Price, which is a big retailer here in South Africa. Now, Mr. Price, which is based in Durban, actually issued a notice on its website to say that deliveries to customers are likely to be delayed as a result of this rain and flooding. This is mainly because their main depot and their main sort of distribution center is actually located in Durban. And we're likely to also see some more businesses coming to the fore with some announcements of that kind. As you saw, some of the shipping containers were pushed out of shipping yards in the visuals that we saw. And it's not clear who those containers belong to or whether there were goods in those containers. But in the next few days, while the damage is being assessed, it's likely to become more clear the effect on businesses.
Wow. A lot happening right now, and we just hope that everyone is safe and the numbers definitely do not increase more than what we have now. Thank you so much, Diane Walker, for bringing us the update all the way from South Africa.
Thank you.
All right. So there you have it, the latest story and update in South Africa. Once again, if you just tuned in, this is Breakfast Central. And our top story this morning has taken us to South Africa, where death toll has risen to 306 persons. We're hoping that the numbers do not increase further than that. And the president definitely has been able to visit some of the residents there, also meeting with a family where Oluchi said that they lost 10 members of that family, all at once. Now, that is quite tragic.
Right. It is also unfortunate because this clearly proves about the climate change and how human activities play its own role in climate change. Now, some 30, 20, 40 years ago, 40 years back, we were not sure this kind of thing would even happen in Africa in particular. We've heard of this kind of stories happening outside Africa in other countries, and even in Asia and in Asia and in the Philippines. But this happening right now, earlier this year, let's not forget, started in Madagascar and then drifted slowly into Malawi, entering Mozambique as well. And then the Democratic Republic of Congo was heavily hit by the floods this season. And on the other side, Joe, we've also had droughts in countries like Somalia that has been suffering from heavy droughts, a side effect, another extreme on the spectrum. If you have heavy floods on one end, the other end is going to be the drought. So you see right now a lot of countries are going through some climate change that we did not foresee this year. But people are coming out and wondering what the experts have forecast. What was the forecast for 2022? What did they say about the terrain? What did they say about the mudslides in Africa?
Well, it's a tough one, no doubt, but we'll bring you more updates in our subsequent news bulletin here on News Central. You're watching Breakfast Central.